Brandon, good morning. Could you give a short introduction about yourself?
Good morning, Rokas. My name is Brandon. I joined the Stock campus maybe 10 months ago. And in the last 3 months, I've made a little bit over 3.5K.
Go. Perfect. So, what made you get into stocks out of all the other options that are within the reward?
Right. Before joining the real world, I've always been a hustler. So, I've had a couple of businesses here and there. And I studied also finance and economics. So, when I joined the real world, the best option for me was definitely the stock market because I already had a way of trading, but I couldn't find the consistency nor a strong community to share my analysis with and just to grow.
Right.
So it was a fit for me directly.
How much experience did you have with stock trading before you joined?
I've had three years.
And you're saying in those 3 years it was inconsistent.
I've made money, but only trading equity stocks. So, for example, holding a stock and just having it for a year or two, and then I made probably 2K in a year and a half. So it wasn't what I expected when I wanted to trade money. So I wanted to know how to trade derivatives, options, futures, and when I came in the real world, the community just helped me to do that.
Interesting. Okay. So, how different is the material that you've seen within the real world compared to what you could have found out on the internet?
Well, I think that the difference is like night and day. When you join the real world, the professor helps you almost one on one. You can have a lot of questions. He's gonna answer to all of them, and if he's not available right now, well, you're gonna have people in the chats that are gonna be willing to help you. So
Hmm.
I think that if you really to put in the work, there's no way you cannot do it. If you have a drive, if you're disciplined, if you love what you do, and if you really have a purpose, well, you're gonna find a way. So the content has been really helpful in giving also a framework, and you start by doing this, and then you go on to the second step and third step, and everything's been so clear. So you just go through the route, and then you specialize in what you want, and you grow from there.
Hmm. Okay. And what would you say to people who don't really want to do stocks because they think it's risky?
I'd say there's a first thing that you need to understand is that first and foremost, everything is risky. So whatever skill of money making you choose, you're gonna either risk some time or some money in it. And if you have some experience elsewhere, where that's no excuse, because the real world is just gonna propulse you into a better level or a higher level of your income, of your strategies. And I'd say you're probably fearing something if you don't want to join the real world. You probably think it's a scam, or you think that you're not gonna be able to make your money back. And if you start from that mindset, well, definitely you're not keen to make your money back. But if you put in the work, and if you put a little faith in it, what you will make your money back, and even more.
Okay. And specifically with stocks, again, you're saying everything is risky, but can you mitigate some of those risks while trading stocks? Is that something you've learned?
Definitely, you have you need to have first and foremost a system. So when you have your own system, well, from thereafter you have to work your risk management. So each position you take, you need to know how much exactly you're willing to lose relative to your total equity. So when you start doing that, you gain control, and you don't go full degenerate mode, and you go try to buy a stock that is already going up, or you short a stock that is already going down. You have your own system and your rules, and you have to be strict with your rules, but you have to be flexible with your expectations. And this is something that I've heard from many mentors.
Interesting. Okay, so system, risk management. What? How much can you reveal for what kind of system you have going on? How did you calibrate your risk management?
So I think my first basis in risk management was with Professor Yush. He says to always put a stop loss and a target. And in the beginning, I didn't do that because for some reason I was trying to prove something. And then when you do it a lot, well, you lose money inevitably. So after a time, you have to have a system and rules because, for example, you can calculate how much trades you're going to be willing to lose before having a win. So your risk ratio is something you have to look on, and you don't always have to have more than 60% of a win rate to be profitable. You can do it by having a 50% or even less. I can tell you.
Just explain a bit more for people who might not understand. If you have a 50%, let's say, profit to loss ratio, I think that's the right metric. How are you making money?
Well, when you look at each individual trades, it's normal to think that you won't be profitable because you're looking at only one trade. But if you make, for example, 10 trades and your risk to reward is 1 to 2, let's say, or 2 to 1, well, you're going to be able to afford some losses in there because of the amount you risk. So if, for example, you have a risk to ratio to 2 to 1, well, you only have to have a win rate of roughly, I think, 30 and between 30 and 50% of your trades. So
Yeah.
if you think about your whole trading as a series of trades, first you're gonna remove a lot of pressure into each and every trade that you do because I think that's what stops a lot of traders in the beginning is that your whole psychology and your whole risk management is based on your last two, three, four trades, whereas it should be seen on your last 20 trades.
That's interesting with a lot of things in life because what you're saying is focus on the journey instead of getting the
Right.
results right now. Because there will be ups and downs. It's a matter of learning from any mistakes you're making and yeah, just seeing it as a journey throughout. And
Definitely.
that's yeah. That I mean, I'll relate this to when I used to play games years back. Let's say you have a goal you want to reach, like a certain rank in a game, and that's all you see. Like every single game you play, it's like, did I gain towards that rank or did I lose from it? And then if you're going lower, you get more frustrated that you're getting further away from it. But instead, you
Yeah.
should see it as every game is just a learning experience and it's a journey. It doesn't matter as much if you win or lost. It's more like, have you learned from that game? Again, this can relate to what you're saying with stocks. Have you learned from that trade? And then through that, if you keep learning, then eventually you will hit it. So it's, yeah, just reframing in that way.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it made me think about when I used to play Fortnite. So I used to play
Mhm.
semi-professional Fortnite, and
Ah,
when
interesting.
you look at games individually, such as trades, you play, and then when you're at the top and there's only like two persons left, what happens? You stress and you think you're gonna lose, and you're thinking about what he's doing, the other person, and that puts so much useless pressure on yourself. Whereas, the best players are chill, always chill, and they just do what you gotta do. And as you said, it directs from life. If you look at your life that way, maybe if you've done a failure, as you can say. Well, I say either you win or you learn. So if
Mhm.
you've just like had something that you've failed upon, quote unquote, well, you need to just learn from it and just keep going because if you stop, well, that's it. You're a loser. But if you just keep winning, well, and you just keep continuing, well, you're gonna become a winner. I can assure you, 100%, hundred
Mhm.
percent.
Yep. Interesting. I didn't expect I'd hear that from you, semi-professional Fortnite player in the past. That was like out of nowhere. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So since you've joined the real world, how different is your average day now compared to before?
Well, related to the markets, because before joining the real world, I was already hitting the gym. I was already reading a lot of books, but the community around me just is very in the matrix, as we say. So it's difficult to find people like-minded, and this is where a spot that you can find people that are willing to put in the work and just grind. And that's what I wanted to do. So I hop in, I log in on the real world, I look at the markets, I look at intermarkets relationships, and then I make my thesis for the day. And that's one thing that people need to have in their mind is that when you're in the real world, you're in a chat, a specific group chat, you're gonna have people like the main people are the same every day. So if you're always showing up and you're giving your thesis, well, not only you risk of being wrong in your thesis, and that's completely good, because the next time you have to step up, you have to be better in your analysis, and you have to be more sharp. So when you put in your thesis, well, people will help you. They will tell you what they think about the market. So yeah, going back to your question, I look at the markets, I prepare for it, I trade, I make a couple of $100, and then I go chill, I do my stuff, I work on other projects, and then I come back the next day fresh.
Right. Interesting. So yeah, especially I guess for trading, having that community of people who are able to emotionally self-regulate themselves as well, I think that's very important because
Yeah.
using the opposite example, something like Wall Street bets, if you're in that kind of community, you're just incentivized to make completely degenerate trades. Whereas I'm sure in the real world, I haven't been in the stocks campus much, but I'm sure there everyone's very straight minded, not doing degenerate gambling, anything like that. So when you're around that, you become similar as well. And yeah, is that
Well,
correct?
Well, I think it is, and for the people that are just new to the stock campus, maybe you're not gonna come ready. Maybe you don't have any experience, and you're not gonna be, virtuous, and you're not gonna be able to compose yourself properly. But people will tell you, there's some people that I know just by looking how they interact that they're not gonna be profitable real soon. But just by the fact that they're showing up and people are helping them, you've interviewed so many good people, like you've interviewed Drads, Rocco, Spezza, all these are complete G's. And I'm going to tell you, these people are the first one to help anyone. So you definitely have to have the mindset to work. That's the entry level. And then after, you're going to learn from other people. As you said, people need to have the kind of the social conditioning, right? You're in a chat and people are just talking about markets. You have an off-topic chat as well, but the main juice happens in the market chats, and then
Mhm.
we just all become so tight together.
Mhm. All right, beautiful. Love to hear that. And what would you say was the biggest challenge you faced yourself when you first started out with stocks trading?
I think it was on the psychology side of things, because I've already had a base of psychology and the mindset. As I've said, I've read maybe 20, 30 books on only mindset, on different kinds of mindsets. But when I came into trading stocks, I thought I was the shit. I was like, okay, this is gonna be somewhat easy. I know it's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be, relatively hard, and then I'll just keep pushing. But no, when you start, you might lose $1,000, $2,000, and if you look at it that way, yeah, it's bad, but the cost of that from now 6 to 8 months later, I can tell you I can easily make $500, $600 a day, and it's not even that hard. But now, because I've had to work on my psychology, just trying to calm the monkey mind, as we say, the fear, the greed, and by reading a book that Professor Ayush recommended, it was Trading in the Zone. You have to read the book. I've read it 5 times, and I'm still learning from it. And I'm annotating it, I'm highlighting stuff. And you need to do that. If you're serious about making money, you need to do that. You need to be very, very meticulous with the way that you're trading and with the way that you're putting in the work, not only from a market analyst perspective, but also from a a mindset perspective. And I think that was the biggest challenge for me. I was making money, I was losing it, and then after I noticed, well, the answer from for my losses are not in the market. It's inside of myself. It's in my own mind. It's the way that I think I deserve to make a lot of money, but the reality is you have to work and you have to abide by your own rules.
All right. So when you come in, it seems for a lot of people this will probably be the case. They need to completely rebuild themselves from the ground up. So maybe they'll have an ego with what they've already been doing and need to realize that there's likely a better way than I already know. So you need to give up what you know and then, yeah, rebuild for the foundations and then go from there.
100%.
And what you said as well about losing, let's see, 1 to 2,000 when you first start out. I can't remember the right terminology for it now, but I know a lot of people refer to it as something like market tuition fee. What's the correct term for it that people usually use? I forgot now.
I don't think I've ever heard that, but I think that, in the beginning, everyone goes into the beginner's luck. So, I tell you the journey I had. I started with 1.5K. I went to 2K. I lost half of it. And then I lost another $1,000. And then from $30, I went to 1.5K again, trading
From
options.
30.
Yes, $30. And
Wait,
from there, I was just like, okay, you see that it's not about how much money you put in, it's just the system. Because I was so in need of making my money back that I just did what I had to do. And then I did from that amount to 2K. And from then, I started trading futures. And everything's been going well.
interesting. Okay, thank you for that insight. And what, again, insights could you talk about that have stood out to you that you've learned from the real world?
I think one thing that comes to my mind is that if you're willing to be a profitable trader, well, you have to first thing specialize, and then after you got to know a little bit from everyone. You got to learn from the options trader, the stocks trader, the futures trader, and you have to ask the right questions. You have to know what people think when they put in a trade. So I think 2 months ago or a month ago, I talked to Professor Ayush. I told him, look, I have an idea. I propose something. I told you we're going to ask 15 questions about psychology, and every experienced in the chat and every captain is going to answer them. And I did that, and I studied it, I learned it, and miraculously, I'm profitable now. And it's not about it's
Yes.
it's not luck. It's just that I've read everything. I know how each and every experience and captains think when they put in trade. What happens when they're in in a downward spiral? How do they react to FOMO? So I think that which is fear of missing out, just in case people don't know. Um, I think you have to put in people's mind, and you have to go further than what you're willing to originally put when you come into the real world. You have to go a step ahead.
Sure. Very, very well said. So, since you're on this trajectory now, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
Well, good thing today is that today, actually, like with synchronicity, today I'm gonna have my first funded account. So today I received my 50,000 account from Apex.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm on my way to do 100K right now. So my goal in the next maybe 6 months would be to manage with prop firms funds maybe a quarter million, and then go for 500 million, and then the big million. So that's what I want to do. I want to build income streams, and now I see the path there. The real world gave that to me.
So, with the initial 50,000 that you're given from the prop firm, Are you meant to build that up to 1 million, or once you get to a certain milestone, then they give you more?
So you can have multiple accounts with Apex or with any
Uh-huh.
prop firm. So my goal is to do the evaluations for other accounts, and from then add up the whole amount. But those 50K accounts, I want to grow it to the limitless. You know, I want to at least
Hmm.
aim 70K by in 6 months. I'd say 70K, 20K in 6 months would be good. But if you look at it that way and you see that I'm gonna use the same trades in multiple accounts, well, it's 20K times the number of accounts I have. So if let's give you an example. Last week I made 3,000 in a week, but it was for the evaluation. But the system is still the same. So the things that I've implied to get my funded account, I'm gonna use it with my same account. And if I can make 3K in a week, averaging everything, good weeks, bad weeks. If I make 5K a month with one account and then I get another one, well, I can see it scaled pretty fast.
All right, makes sense. And just explain a bit more with prop firms. When you make a profit, let's say you go from 50,000 to 75,000, how much of that goes directly to you?
So Apex, it depends on each prop firm, but Apex has the first $25,000, 100% goes directly to you. And then the other profits that you do, it's a 90-10 split with you. So you have 90% of each trade that you make. So I don't know to you, but that's a great deal to me.
Right, right. Yeah, definitely. That sounds good. And what was the process for getting the 50,000 funded account? I know you have to do some preliminary stuff to prove yourself first. So what did that involve for you?
So you start with the 50K account. I'll give you the formula for a 50K account. And you have a trailing threshold that goes below 50K account to 2.5K. So, for example, you have 50K, the less you can go is 47.5. But if your account goes to $1,000 more, the $1,000 follows you. So your limit is now 48,500. And this is not only with your realized profits, but it's also with the unrealized profits. So if you have a trade that, for example, goes to 1,000 and then it goes down to zero and you cut the trade to break even, your limit is at 48.5, but your account is still at 50K. So it really pushes you to handle your risk management because
Mhm.
you cannot fail. And when you pass that, well, you pretty much have your risk management pretty well, pretty tight.
Right. Okay, makes sense. Thank you. And now I'd like to go back a bit to why did you join the real world?
Ooh, multiple reasons. So the first one that I think is that I've had two businesses before, one in consulting and one in food. But I I was seeing that some of the partners in those companies weren't having the same mindset as me. And when I joined the real world, I did the business mastery classes, and the tenets that are shown by Andrew and Arno were pretty much aligned with what I wanted to do naturally. And I'll give you an example. They have speed, they have money in, these philosophies that you have to have when you do a business. Well, when people, when you tell that to people and their reaction is, I don't want to work, everything, you're supposed to do everything passively. Uh, it's like, okay, but you need to get somewhere before having that passive income mindset. And it allowed me to filter out people for business projects on that sense. But then after, when I joined the stock campus, it was, I know this is my place. I wanted to multiply my income streams, and I'm on the path of doing so.
Okay, nice. And did Tate had have any kind of impact on you joining?
Yeah, I think Tate, his philosophies of just being the best you can be. And when you take that, you might listen to it and not really grasp what he says. But when you really do, you became very conscientious. So before, for example, I used to work out maybe 3 to 5 times a week. But now it's like when I do that, I feel like I need to do more. And I think that's a healthy thing. I think it's a good thing for me because it's true. I mean, professional athletes train 2 times a day, maybe even more. And why not go for that? Why not go higher? And I think Tate has really pushed my own limits, which I thought that were already high. He pushed it even more, and the discipline aspect, the maybe even the religious aspect, the spiritual aspect of just having a purpose and having a goal.
Interesting. Okay. So thank you very much for sharing that. And that is most of my questions for you. So to end off, for people who are still unsure about joining the real world, maybe they're thinking it could be a scam for the $50. What advice do you have to them?
I'd say wake up because if you if you think you're gonna be making money and not investing at least $50 or at least a couple of hundreds for a couple of months, well, you're dreaming. And if you join the real world, you will see that people that you don't even know very well will be willing to help you more than people you know. People will just answer your questions and go even further. People will want to push you to a standard that is just what you need to succeed. And the professors are super helpful. If you don't want it to work, you're not gonna make it work. If you come in with doubts, you're not probably not gonna be profitable soon. But if you put in the work, you stay in, you follow the chats, you're active, you participate, you study the course as well, and you go again, as I said earlier, one step further, you're gonna find a way to make money. And you're gonna think a year from now, it's crazy. It's crazy what you've done, and it's almost a year for me. It's in 2 months. So, and I can already see the results. I can already see how it impacts my life. So, join, and you can write me in the chat. I'll help you.
Great. What's your real world username?
It's top Brandon BG.
Go. Perfect. And for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
Yeah. So I have an Instagram. It is underscore Brandon BG. And for professional links or more corporate stuff, you can talk to me on LinkedIn. So I'll give you the link, Roca, so you can post it here as well.
Go. Got it. We'll add it to the description of the video. And yeah, Brandon, thank you for all those insights you shared. I learned quite a bit myself. And I look forward to doing a follow up with you in about 3 months or so to see how prop firm trading is going for you, how much profits you're making, and yeah, how your journey has been. And until then, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Rogas. And I'm looking forward to that. And I wish you also the best.